Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Calhoun's. It's Alabama next week at 3:30 at Neyland Stadium. That means pregame Calhoun's, postgame Calhoun's, tailgate Calhoun's. Stop in and grab a Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack. This is all the barbecue, buns, sides, everything you need. Utensils, plates in one picnic box that they pack for you. Call them in advance. Plan your tailgate with a Calhoun's Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack. All right, guys, I want to talk about the Tennessee offense very quickly here. Mike DeBord had a pretty good day yesterday. We went in thinking that John Chavis had a very hyped defense, and DeBord proceeded to slice it and dice it. Rushing yards 282, passing yards 402, total yards 684, 6.9 yards per play. Josh Dobbs, 57 yards rushing. And that's taking sack yardage out of it because he had about 92 rushing before the sacks. 398 yards passing, 4 receiving yards and a touchdown, 459 total yards from Josh Dobbs. But the man who really stole the show yesterday, Alvin Kamara, sets the UT record here. He rushed for 127 and 2 touchdowns, caught 161 yards worth of passes and a touchdown, kick returns, punt returns, school record 312 all-purpose yards, and he's the first player in the Power 5 in 20 years to record 150 yards receiving and 125 yards rushing in the same game. So the question is, and we've been saying it on the show all season, why don't you get Kamara more touches? And specifically, I know Will's been banging this drum as well, why don't you put these guys, Hurd and Kamara, on the field at the same time? You saw Kamara as a receiver lined up yesterday, worked pretty doggone well. Guys, how do you use Kamara when Hurd is healthy and back? Or did we just answer it? Put them both out.
Yeah. You know, if I'm Kamara, I'll kiss my NFL career goodbye at UT, because if I'm UT, I am wearing him out between now and the end of the season. I honestly think you've got to go and look at what you're doing, and now all of a sudden your offense kind of needs to revolve in that direction. I think it's revolved in Hurd's direction prior to this. I would make him my centerpiece behind my quarterback.
Let me go to Chuck Cavaleris, who I didn't introduce, but I will now because we had graphics. Chuck's down there on the end. Chuck, your thoughts on the use of Alvin Kamara?
Well, I believe he had 30 total touches yesterday, if you count 26 on offense, 3 punts, and 1 kickoff. I would kind of like taper back maybe a little bit in the kicking game, but I'm going to have him on the field for about 80% of the snaps if I can. And I'm going to have more of them out there if Hurd is healthy, and Kelly too. I mean, you can keep them fresh, but you can have Kamara in the slot, as Will has talked about. We've been like ad nauseum on this. You can motion him out. You could force the defense to show what they're doing.
Put them both in the backfield.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and to me, it gives your offense another gear, and it gives you like a home run capability you don't have with Jalen Hurd.
How about Kamara and Kelly in the same backfield?
Yeah. Well, I've even said, wouldn't you think Jalen Hurd's future, if it's in the NFL, may be more as an H-back? Couldn't you see all 3 of those guys on the field trying to do that?
Hurd is beat up. He's been beaten up all year.
Yeah.
So you got to take that into consideration. I mean, there are 14 stories about the different injuries this week. He does have a lot. He's banged up. And I also think he probably would be better in an I formation. But let me give it to you this way. Do you simply put Hurd back as your feature back and use Kamara on the field with him? Or do you say, we're replacing some of your touches, you're coming off the field, Hurd, Kamara, you're on the field more? How do you handle it?
For me, I mean, I've been saying it ad nauseum for most of the year.
Saying it,
I mean, the issue is, who are your best players and how do you get them out in the field?
Exactly.
You have 2 really good wide receivers. You have Dobbs, you have Hurd, and you have Kamara, right?
Yep.
There's your guys, all right? How do I get all of those guys on the field for most of the game? And how do I design plays for them that put the defense in the worst position possible and put our offense in the best position possible? What happens? It works. Because a couple of times yesterday, Kamara motions out. Who had to cover him?
Linebacker.
Number 1 read for the quarterback. Right there, guy. That's me and you. I'm coming to you right now. Do you stop it?
Jimmy, I'll let you finish this little segment here. Thoughts on how you use, do you use Kamara to replace Hurd? Do you use them both at the same time? Is it a knock on DeBord and the staff that they haven't used Kamara more so far? Give me your take on the situation.
I would use them together some, but if I've got to replace Hurd with Kamara some, I'm doing that too. He's got to get more touches. He's dynamic. He makes big plays. He ran well between the tackles yesterday too, which is a credit to him and a credit to the offensive line as well. And yes, I do think Tennessee should have used Kamara more in some of the previous games. Now, they played him in the slot a little bit earlier. They didn't throw it to him much, but he'd been in the slot some. But I'm going to use him, I don't know, about 30 touches a game, maybe 29.
I think Kamara on the field would help Hurd. I think it would help Hurd.
It will help him. I'm telling you, it pulls a guy out of the zone. It will help him play better as well.
Insane that they haven't done it. Okay. Let me talk to you about the wounded. Look at this.
Wow.
Jalen Reeves-Maybin, now they announced yesterday he's out for the year. Good thing you used a guy with a bum shoulder in a thin position and punt coverage against Ohio. Said that before they did it. I think I pointed it out after the Appy State game. Darren Kirkland Jr., ankle. Cam Sutton likely out for the year. I mean, it's hard to imagine him coming back from the broken foot ankle. Jalen Hurd suffering from a concussion, among other things. And then yesterday during the game, and I might have missed someone, Wiseman, McDowell, O'Brien, who did fly back with the team, did have motion. All that looks good. Foreman, Mosley, Robertson, Berry, some of those guys came back into the game. I'm not sure if I missed anyone there. Butch Jones said after the game, we're done with the injury talk. So I don't expect anybody's going to get some sort of updates pre-Alabama. But what you saw yesterday, a lot of those, at least 3 concussions you would think, those could take a week, those could take a month. There's no telling on any of those.
You're right. And then you're in the concussion protocol, provided they were concussions, and it appeared to be that way. So then you don't know when you're getting them back. That's devastating, but we also talked about the resiliency of this team. You were able to come back with all those injuries from 21 points down against a really good A&M team on the road. That's pretty impressive to me. This team has something special about it, which is why I don't think you can rule them out in any game they play.
I think their depth was better than we thought, too.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you lose that many people and you're still going toe-to-toe. Here's the thing. You shot yourself in the foot. You turned it over 7 times. You had 12 penalties. You had that many people leave the field. And it still took 2 overtimes for the number 8 team in the country to beat you on its home field. Okay, you're a little more special than I thought you were. Now, we'll see if they can keep that up. That is a hard road to hoe. But I think when you look at that list, pretty impressive. You cannot help but tip your hat to the coaching staff for having the next man up ready, which we will talk about next with Sterling Hinton and Kyler Kerbyson. We got a lot more to go. We're going to talk about the officiating, 2-point conversion play at the end. Should they have gone for 2? All that. Come on back.